Okay, I'm back. Welcome to the Stanley Parable. As I already said, does anyone really truly know? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Surely I've adjusted all of the game's settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? It's just what I do, like a day job. And now the job is over. There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can. And I still don't really know you. And you don't know me. And neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable. But if I'm being totally honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games were meant to be played alone. You like being alone, don't you? That's maybe the only information I really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There's still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again if you can find me. Talk soon. Interesting. Alright. Let's get started.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright. I've played this before, so I'm surprised that it...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, this door's open. Haven't
Oh,
gone through it yet.
new content? What does that mean, new content?
This game is so fascinating and fun. The amount of different endings there are is crazy.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
What's that direction?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Nothing's happening.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I love the narrator's voice in this game.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Oh, the jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
That's so fun. Oh, I can only jump in the circle. Just gonna get it down to 30. Ugh, I feel like I need to use all the jumps.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Maybe I need some more for later.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000...
Hold on. I'm gonna turn the desktop volume down. It's getting into high.
1,000 hours of new content, and oh, wait, there's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
So sorry, I have a slight cold. I wish I could sit down in that chair. It looks so comfortable.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Back to the beginning. I think it's funny that it starts you over. Oh. This is different. I hate Monday. So true. Thankfully it's Saturday.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
I'll go to the vent. I didn't want to go back into the office. Coffee nut. God,
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
It would have been cool if, like, when they have you set the time up at the beginning of the game, if this was the time that you had set up. I mean, they didn't have me do that this intro, but that would be cool if that's what they did. The Stanley Parable demonstration. Smile because it happened. The Stanley Parable. A trip down memory lane. This is such a cozy place. Really does have that cozy vibe.
Je suis dans la memory zone, seul sur la pluie des vélos, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour. C'est là, dans la memory zone, où je me
And over here
remémore.
is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing.
I wish we
It's
could
no
sit
games
down.
at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
If anyone watching notices the desktop volume is too loud, just let me know and I can turn it down. What's on the stairs? I kind of want to go down the stairs. Oh, but there's nothing extra.
Here's
Check this
another
out
moving
first.
passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10.
Oh, I
Don't
didn't
you
get to go
get
down
it,
the
Stanley?
stairs.
The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Oh, cool. The serious room. Looks like someone needs to be interrogated in there.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it
door's gonna
all
shut.
over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone
did.
before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no.
I love all
God,
the little
no.
details.
Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
So sorry about all the coughing.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Still can't jump.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well,
Oh, I love it. It's sinking.
yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
The plant's dead.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping...
I love skipping it. It's so funny. Oh. It's completely dead. Nobody's been watering it. Oh, I guess I gotta skip again. The clock fell. Where's the beeping coming from? Because I know as I walk in different directions, it fades or gets louder. So maybe it's just coming from the skip button.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain.
I think personally this would be my worst nightmare. This whole situation would be my worst nightmare.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
oh my god,
is never the.
That's so dark. I feel like I hear water trickling. Not anymore, but a second ago. Yeah. Before I hit the skip button, every time I look behind there's nothing. And maybe that's... Oh, there's water. There's lots of water. Weird. I'll hit the skip button and see what happens. I was like, I hear water trickling coming from somewhere. Oh. Oh my. It is breezy in here now. Oh, it's daylight. My way of escape. Could move some of these rocks, maybe? Shimmy onto the pole and out the ceiling. I needed to get out. Oh, pretty! That's so pretty. Oh, I love the birds chirping in the background. That is gorgeous. Oh. I've watched someone play this game, a little bit of it before, but I've never ever seen this. How long is this gonna go on? Oh. Oh, 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 no. No, no. Oh, the button. Freedom! Freedom! Right on the beach with my fist pumped out, yelling, freedom! I don't know if this is much better. This is the middle of the desert. Not much better. I'm just gonna wander around forever? Maybe I could go back and hit the skip button. I'll try that. I want to see if I can hit it again. If not, I'll just... Oh. Oh, back at the beginning. What's in store for us this time?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content. Tempting. Let's do it.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Oh. Not what I expected. It would be funny if it was just the same thing. I want to go that way.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Ooh.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there's so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
I loved the vending machine that said taste.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them.
This looks like
It'll all
something Netflix
work
would
itself
do.
out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Let's take a look. Cold drinks. Taste the sequel. I just can't get over that. I just think that's hilarious.
For the Stanley
No.
Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious
big,
answer
too small,
is that they
just
want to
right.
be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
I am Jim.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim,
Yep.
seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as
I'm
Jim,
Jim.
watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
I am Jim.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
I am Jim.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was
It's
you!
hilarious.
The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
I am Jim. Button is describing me.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this
This
were
is
the
pretty
only new
funny.
feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money.
I agree.
Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
That's hilarious. I just gotta press it one more time.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually
Jim.
are.
Jim.
Yeah, I mean, I am Jim now. There's no other person here. It's just me, Jim. So, it's too late. I've already become Jim, so putting the button away didn't help.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Free, new and easy achievement. I haven't gotten any of the collectibles yet. What's in here? I just want to explore everything, and I feel like if I go down one path, I won't be able to explore the other.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Now I got one. I haven't had any. Oh. Okay, good. I get to explore the other things.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game
the jump
and then they
circle.
give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolute. You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Okay, I'll save 15 for later. That was fun. I think it's so fun because you can't jump normally. It's just, it's so funny. Because you're like, oh yes, jump circle, I can jump. But before
Now
you can never
here's something
jump.
special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to the... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
I want to fix it so bad. I think there is a way to fix it, but I don't know what that is. I don't know how to fix it. On to explore new things, I guess.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I think there was more this way that I hadn't explored yet. Do they actually have merch? I'm curious to know. That would be kind of funny. The end is never the end. This t-shirt is the best new feature. 2. The stripes. I don't understand the stripe one. The Stanley Parable. I saw the new content. That's pretty funny. Which door? The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. Ooh. That sounds fun.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's
I wish I
true.
could jump for the
As
bucket.
long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding
I
it
agree.
has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Aha.
Does anyone give out awards for
No,
most
it's from the
enjoyable
store.
bucket in a... Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Stepniece. Happy 12th birthday, Stepniece. I think Get Well Someday is hilarious.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
Oh.
Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
No, I want to get one someday. That's so funny, and then the pictures change. This
Or
game
actually,
is just so clever.
maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
It says exit, but... Oh, here, let me explore this last little bit. Then exit, and then I gotta hop off for the day. Oh, wait, I already went down here. What's this direction? No screenshots. Was this the other direction? Yeah, okay. So I can come out this way. I wanna make sure I don't miss anything. I think this is the last thing.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Oh, there's a ceiling now. So is that door still closed? I mean, I'm gonna jump down the hole again. Oh no, it's open. Interesting. I wanna see what happens if I jump down the hole again.
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole. It's exactly what you're doing right now, but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to walk... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled.
Well, got shorter that
I really
time,
do have so much more to show. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where...
Surely.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth,
I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
Nope.
Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity.
I like that it faded. His voice faded out as if he was walking away from me. Oh well. I hear something. I feel like the game will restart, but I don't know. Interesting. I want to see it slowly shrink.
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up the space of mine.
That one's cool.
My head's stronger.
Oh, puppies.
Now you're no longer using.
Lost and now we used to be where that is built for a
Error. No. Yeah, that's what it is from now on. I wonder how long this will go
Stanley?
on.
Stanley! Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? No. From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley.
No, I
I'll
want
be
out.
back. Toodle pip.
I want out. Let me out. No. Y'all. It's so tempting because I want to know what ending is, but I also... There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Back to the beginning. Oh.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
I need to... Where was the exit again? I think I did everything in here. So, now it's time to exit. Because I genuinely do have to be going. But it's just so tempting to keep playing.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
That's a lot of stairs. Alright, I do have to go. I'm gonna call it here. Thank you, anybody, for watching, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch. And I will be back on Monday playing Jedi Fallen Order. I'll probably just play the Stanley Parable here and there, but if anybody's interested in me putting up a schedule for it, I might schedule it on Saturdays for the Stanley Parable, but I also might schedule something else for that day. So, thank you everyone for watching.